أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله ولتنظر نفس ما قدمت لغد واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. ولا تكونوا كالذين نسوا الله فأنساهم أنفسهم أولئك هم الفاسقون. لا يستوي أصحاب النار وأصحاب الجنة هم الفائزون. لو أنزلنا هذا القرآن على جبل لرأيته خاشعا متصدعا من خشية الله. وتلك الأمثال نضربها للناس لعلهم يتفكرون. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم. هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز وهو العزيز الحكيم. صدق الله العظيم.
Jazakallah Hasib, indeed it was a beautiful start. First and foremost, I would like to thank Sir Tabani and Tabani School of Accountancy for all their support. We are very grateful for Ms. Saima and Ms. Anila for conducting these sessions for guiding students, and apart from that for helping building their confidence. Now it is my privilege to introduce our keynote speaker of today, Mr. Zulfikar Ali Causer, a highly respected chartered accountant and an international licensed partner and a managing partner at BDO in Pakistan. Mr. Causer brings with him a remarkable track record of leadership and excellence. With over 2 decades of experience in assuring and advisory services, he has worked across Canada and Pakistan with global companies including 500 of them. He has also completed the prestigious BDO Global Partner Leadership Program. So let us all give a warm welcome to our prestigious guest of today, Mr. Zulfikar Ali Causer, with a huge round of applause.
Assalamualaikum everyone. Good afternoon. Lovely to see everyone here on time, and I'm sure this is part of a great culture that Tabani Sahab has built over the years. At these kind of events because I feel that there's a lot, although the lady was very kind to introduce me with very generous words, but it is I who benefit from these sessions because the pace at which you all are learning and growing is a lot faster than when you get to my age and in my position. So when I come to these kind of events, it is I who actually benefit in terms of getting an understanding of what the young bright minds of today are thinking, how they're growing and how they can contribute to society. It would be amiss if I don't start with a word of recognition for Sharif Tabani Sahab, who's very kindly invited me to be a guest today here. Some of you may know, or I don't know if you know, but Tabani Sahab was a student of my grandfather. Yes, my grandfather's name was Ibrahim Dawoodwala. He was the first, well, he was in the first batch of chartered accountants who qualified in 1951 in Pakistan. In those days it was called registered accountant. There was no chartered accountant. And in those days you had to pay money to be articled somewhere. You did not receive money. You had to pay to become articled somewhere. He then, of course, qualified, and the Registered Accountants Association was formed, and my grandfather was then part of the initial group of people who actually led the formation of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. He also then went on to become the first elected president. For those of you who have not been, taught this in the history books of ICAP, ICAP's president used to be the Securities and Exchange Commission nominee. In those days known as CLA, it was called Corporate Law Authority. So previously the presidents and CEOs were nominated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. So he was the first elected president of the Institute of Chartered Accountants and first elected president of SAFA, South Asian Federation of Accountants, from Pakistan. So he holds these two distinctions, of which I am very proud, and of course our firm is very proud. And it is part of that great legacy that Tabani Saab, belongs to. And I always look upon him like a fatherly figure in that sense. He's always been a well-wisher for us, and he's an excellent mind and has contributed to many successful careers of many young professionals in Pakistan. So you all should feel privileged that you're associated with this institution and the kind of values it holds. Right. So I want to first start with that. I often think about what it is that I'd like to speak to all of you about, because I don't want to, as I said, the young lady was quite generous about her words of appreciation. I'll talk to you a little bit about myself, just to provide the context as to in what context I'll be speaking to you, because some of it may be relevant to you, some of it you may find that it doesn't apply to you. But either way, I'm going to just give you that context, so it's important you understand. So I'm a son of a fairly privileged household in Pakistan. I grew up very comfortably. I attended one of the best schools in Karachi Grammar School. I went on to study ONA levels. I again then had the privilege to go abroad to study. I went and studied in Canada, and I went to a top business school there. I qualified as a chartered accountant. I was top 10% in Canada in my writing term, and I'll come back to one of the lessons I learned. But one of the reasons that I came back to Pakistan, of course, was to join the practice that my grandfather had founded in 1951, Ibrahim and Company, now known as BDO Ibrahim and Company. But of course, the other reason was Pakistan and the family that we have here. I know a lot of you have aspirations, and inshallah you will see the world, you live in the world, you'll develop your careers internationally, many of you. The point I want to make to you overall is that sitting today, although I speak from privilege, you're also equally privileged in the sense that you are right now sitting in one of the best educational institutions in Pakistan in this profession. Therefore, you have access to chart your careers in a way which many others don't have the opportunity. So first start with that gratitude. Gratitude is very important in life. It's one of those underrated virtues in the sense that we take things for granted in our lives, and we always find reasons to complain about various things. So one of the things that I learned very quickly was that when I moved back to Pakistan and I had to adjust to working in Pakistan, was I have to be grateful for everything that has been bestowed upon me, and that I therefore have a privilege to contribute back to society, to Pakistan, and to the profession to the best of my ability. Right? I think all of you, if you start with gratitude every day, you'll understand that many people wake up, many people don't wake up in the morning. So be grateful that you're alive, be grateful for your family, be grateful for your friends, and then get on with the day-to-day chores of your life. The reason I say this is that I have this opportunity to speak to a lot of young students, and I see a lot of them are undergoing generally a lot of stress and anxiety. And that is not good for your mental health, and eventually it will have a bearing on how you develop as well. So take care of yourself and be grateful to begin with. It will make a big difference in terms of how you approach life on a day-to-day basis. all of you, inshallah, alhamdulillah, will become successful in life, be it in this profession in Pakistan, be it in industry, be it internationally, as long as you work towards a certain path in your life. So first point I want to talk about was gratitude. I again come back to my story a little bit. When I moved back to Pakistan in 2004, about 20 years ago now, I had already spent about 5 years in Canada and I had worked there. I came back and I started as an assistant manager in my firm, and I was made to sit in the open on a small desk, and at that time my father, who was the managing partner of the firm, Qasim Causer, he allowed me the flexibility to get into the kind of service lines and work that I wanted to. So I had a little bit of flexibility in terms of what kind of product services I wanted to develop. But I had the support of a lot of colleagues around me, and that helped me develop immensely. So the second point I want you to remember is that take a look at the colleagues around you today, sitting next to you. These will be a very important support system for you, not only today while you're going through your examinations and your careers and your training period eventually, but in the future as well. They will be, you remember this fraternity with a lot of fondness, and so I encourage you to enjoy this time as well. It's a period of, it's something you will always come back to in terms of your memories, amongst your best memories in your life. So don't consider this as a period which is very hard. Of course it is hard. It is a hard period because you're giving time to something that is of importance. But it is a period you'll remember with great fondness. So do recognize the importance of that. As I mentioned, I moved back to Pakistan and I started developing as a professional. At that time, I had to write 2 examinations of ICAP. I'm assuming, sorry, I'm not aware of the audience. You are all students of CA, but at what level? Beyond CAF? They're CAF. Okay, right. So when I came back, I was informed that I have to write 2 examinations to become equivalent in Pakistan. So the 2 exams were law and tax. So because I came from privilege, because I had the chance to go to Canada and I always did well in as a student, I had 8 A's in my O levels in 1995, which was a very good result. In those days, people did not get so many A's. I said, "Oh, how difficult can these exams be?" And so I just got qualified from Canada. How difficult can these Pakistani exams be? So I walked in without any preparation, saying that, "Look, I've studied law and tax in Canada. How different can it be?" I gave the exam and I came back a little bit stunned. And when I got the result, in those days, I don't know if now the result card shows, but I got something called bad fail. So it's actually a very funny way of describing a poor result. A fail is a fail. Why do you have to add an adjective to it and call it bad fail? It's almost like they're trying to torture you, right? So imagine I'm the grandson of one of the founders of ICAP. My father is managing partner of a fairly well-established firm, and I got my result card. And I was quite old then. I was already a qualified chartered accountant from Canada, and here I go and I've got these 2 bad fails, advanced tax and law. I was very embarrassed, obviously, internally. And so I went to the institute at that time. At that time, these RAETs were not evolved in the way that they are today, 20 years ago. That's why I said you should start with gratitude, because you have these facilities available. So I went to ICAP. I said, "Look, I'm a foreign qualified accountant. How do I study for the exams? Where do I get the books?" So they said, "Just read the law." So I went and I bought an income tax law and a corporate law, Companies Ordinance 1984 it was. And I read it once, just read it once, end to end. And I said, okay, I got some hang of the material here. Canada also is Commonwealth country, so the laws are not dissimilar. And I went in again for the exam, second time. And I came back and I got fail. Went from bad fail to fail in both. So I was embarrassed, but slightly less embarrassed than last time. And then in that year I got engaged and I was expected to get married in the next 12 months. So I said, look, I don't want to be writing exams once I'm married. It's a little bit odd. It's a little bit awkward to be writing exams. How's my wife going to look like? This guy's a student and he's writing exams. He's supposed to take care of me. I don't mean that in a paternal way. In today's society, women are equally capable of taking care of their men. And my own wife is a working woman. So But I had this in my mind, I don't want to write exams after I'm married, so I better get down to this. So then law I again read on my own, and for tax I went to an after hours class in Karachi. So I used to spend the day at work as a manager, and night I used to go at 7 to 10, and when I was to sit in that room, I used to sit at the back, and I was of course at least, I was 25 at the time, and so I was at least 5 to 6 years or 7 years older than the rest of the people in the room. Plus I came from this, आप लोग शायद all लफ्ज़ इस्तेमाल करते हैं, glimmering बच्चे के लिए I was considered a burger. At that time, I think that terminology is less used now, but I spoke a lot less Urdu then. अब तो फिर भी मेरी उर्दू अच्छी हो गई है, but I used to speak a lot less Urdu. So I said, yeah, why am I sitting here? I'm a Canadian qualified chartered accountant, coming here 5 days a week to study this local exam, and I kept sort of internally finding that very difficult to digest. Over the years, and so eventually I passed the exam. I passed that exam in that attempt, thankfully, before I got married, and then of course I continued thereon. But that was my first lesson in another word called humility. Humility is another word which is a very important virtue taught, of course, in our religion, but I don't want to take the talk in a religion manner. We must have people from different religions perhaps in the room as well. But humility is a very, again, underemphasized virtue in our society. We must be modest about what it is that we have been given. Consider it a gift. Consider it not a privilege, but a gift that has to be then earned by the way you pay it back, right? And later on in society, I learned as I've spent time with my managers around me in my firm, as well as I met people in society. I met people in society who came from fairly less privileged backgrounds and less academically inclined roots. I came from the OA level system, then I met people who came through the metric system. And in, of course, in ICAP, you got people coming from all kinds of schooling backgrounds, from all kinds of geographies. I don't know, are there people here from outside of Karachi who moved here? There must be, I'm sure, a few people. So again, you've moved here to study, be a student and develop your career. That's a very ambitious thing you're doing. So I learned that a lot of these people are much smarter than me, and they're much more hard-working than me. So don't think that in Pakistan, they say America is a land of opportunity. I think Pakistan is a land of opportunity. You can create, in the kind of profession that you're pursuing, you'll be able to chart your life in the manner that you want. You'll be able to live in a place that you want. You'll be able to live the way that you want. So have that humility or modesty within you as you succeed in life. Aapke inshallah exams niklenge as you complete your qualifications. Understand that the learning path continues. It's now 20 years on. I've attended numerous international training events, and of course I have 20 years of experience in Pakistan and 5 years in Canada behind me. So one would imagine that I would feel like I have a lot of knowledge, but the learning process continues, right? It's not something that stops, and that's what I tell a lot of the young people who, even in our firm, is that just because you achieve qualification doesn't mean it stops there. That's actually the starting point. It's a starting point for your professional development as a career. Right now you're a student, it's slightly different. Once you qualify, inshallah, that's when your professional development will begin, and it's a whole different effort, it's a whole different journey. And there are many different routes that you can plot. But coming back to the humility lesson that I learned, I'll continue to learn those lessons along the way as I interacted in society with people of different backgrounds, different educational as well as social backgrounds, and I came to the understanding that no matter where you are, as long as you put in the hard work, as long as you're disciplined, as long as you're focused, you will get where you want to. And there are plenty of examples in our institute as well. They are continuously profiled. Recently the ICAP CFO awards were held, the CFO conference was held, and they gave some professional excellence awards. And there are few gentlemen there who again started from very modest backgrounds, but because of hard work, dedication, focus, they were able to build their lives. The people who moved from outside Karachi to do this, you're here for a purpose. Which brings me to the third word that I want to talk about today is purpose and focus. Now, I was also surprised to hear when I came and I learned, I understood. I'm not sure again if that applies to people in this room, but I came to learn that many people who could not get into the medical route came into the CA route or as a backup. Are any of them here in the room? Oh my God, look at that. At least half the room. So you're people who could not go down the medical route and you ended up in CA. Now, that in itself is something that our institute is trying to work on, to develop CA as a preferred route without having to think about medicine. But the point is that whatever it is that you're doing, that you set your mind to, you have to do it with purpose and focus. Many of you come also from backgrounds where even today what you're doing, जो आपने education अभी तक हासिल की है, perhaps you are the most educated member of your family today also. The point I'm trying to make is not to highlight that. The point I'm trying to make is that you have a burden of responsibility because your parents or your guardians have allowed you this opportunity and this platform to develop. So you have a moral responsibility to do your best with focus and purpose. But more importantly, it's important that you don't settle for second best. You don't settle for almost good enough. You mark your target and you work towards it relentlessly with focus, with purpose, right? I have plenty of examples, even in our firm, kids who came after having their CAF cleared in good attempts, meaning very few attempts and they had cleared their CAF, but then they got very relaxed and nonchalant. Nonchalant means basically were not concerned about their own progress because there were no expectations. Their family member said, you got articles in a decent firm, after 3 years you'll have a decent starting salary, you've studied enough, and that's the end of it. What I want to tell you is that's a very poor mindset to start this journey on. Don't settle for good enough. Settle for a target and inshallah Allah will find a way for you there if you put in the effort and the focus. Of course, all of us are faced with different circumstances in life. Some of us have to deal with financial issues of family. Some of us have to deal with health issues. Some of us have to deal with other issues. But we do what we can, the best in life to the best of our ability. But what I mean about focus and purpose is that, for example, in today's day and age, there's a lot of distractions that you have. When I grew up as a student, we did not have this device, and so the way we studied was very different. It was not on devices, and the way we learned was different as well. Although that has its pros as well. I know nowadays a lot of you can learn online, virtual learning and all that. That's all the positive side of it. I'm not diminishing that. That's excellent because that allows access to education. But what I mean is, you need to, whatever it is that you're doing, do it with focus. If you're setting time out to study, do it with focus. If you're at work, do it with focus. We got a lot of, we got close to about 600 trainees now in our firm. Just today, our HR team informed me that we crossed 1,000 people today in our firm. So it's a milestone that we just crossed. But I come across a lot of students, and if they've not done well in their exams, I ask them, did you not study? Did you, were you registered with an RAAT? Did you attend classes? So a lot of them did attend classes, but a lot of them did not put in that personal time and effort and focus. And they were not driven to get to where they want to. So you must set targets for yourself and then work towards them consistently throughout the year, not just a few weeks or days before the exams. Okay? So consistency and focus in whatever it is that you do is important. The other linked point here is that we hear this term, right? For example, हमारे firm में भी हम एक survey कराते हैं. Every year we do a survey of employees. It's called the Employee Engagement Survey. I've asked two of my HR colleagues to join me today. I'll introduce them later. Asif Abdi and Nawal Sayyid. They've started an employee engagement survey to get a sense for what people's recommendations are and feelings are and sense of happiness is and all that, right? And one of the things that came back as a feedback was work-life balance is tough. Now I, on the flip side, heard a speech by a famous man called Steve Jobs. You've all heard of Steve Jobs of Apple. He said there is no such thing as work-life balance. When work is required to be done, then you have to be at work. When life has to be attended to, you have to attend to life. If your family needs you, you're going to leave work. You're going to attend to your family. If work needs you, you're going to be at work. And simultaneously, at different stages in your life, there are different demands. Right now, you are all students. Right now, the demand is your studies, your examinations. That's your area of focus. Yes, once you qualify, your focus will change. It will go to work. And then, inshallah, once you get married and you have family, your focus will shift to your children and your broader family. So, balance keeps on changing in life. There's no such thing as it's not one balance for everyone. It's different at different stages in your life. If at this stage in your life you're spending a lot of time out with your friends, socializing, of course that's healthy to some extent, but you have to understand that this time requires you to have focus and purpose. And I've seen that the most successful people in our firm and outside as well are those who have identified a sense of purpose and focus, that this is what I'm here to do. I've come from out of town to be in Karachi. This is why I'm here. This is what I need to do. And I can promise you, if you do it with the best of your ability, inshallah, you will be successful. And you can only worry about yourself. You cannot worry about things that are outside of your control. If you give it your best, that's all you can do. But if you don't give it your best, then you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage. So you must allow yourself the best opportunity to succeed by putting in that purpose and focus. The fourth word I want to talk about today is a word called resilience. Right? Pakistan is a resilient country. We've seen a lot of challenges. We are resilient people generally. Also, I come back to our religion, but our religion also teaches us resilience. Our religion teaches us not to lose hope. And one of my favorite sayings is, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. Right? Keep that hope in you always. Optimism, positivity. If you have setbacks, you have a bad exam like I had, a bad fail, bounce back from it, and develop a sense of, as long as you know that you put in the effort, know that you'll get to where you need to. When the time is written for you by Allah, you will get where you need to. Your path is written for you. But if you don't allow yourself resilience, or you don't build resilience, then it will cripple you in the tough times, right? Again, you face other tough things also. People face family health issues, people face financial issues, people face many different kinds of issues. So you have to be able to be tough and bounce back. This society is tough. It pounces on you. If you're down, it pounces you further down, right? So you have to be tough. There's no doubt. And this profession makes you tough. I think that's one of the things it does. You see a sense of confidence that's built up. Sometimes I would say a little bit too much overconfidence, and I sometimes see that in the young qualified people, that they feel that they've achieved it all. Yes, it is a major milestone behind you, but as I said, that's just the start of your professional career, right? I want to talk a little bit about this area of a balanced life a little bit more in terms of your own mental health and well-being. Try to build in personal time for exercise and physical activity. I think it's very different, very important, and without it, it doesn't allow your mind to function properly. I have 3 boys. My eldest son just wrote his O-level exams, and that's a very tough time in examinations. So I saw him go through it, and I kept encouraging him to ensure that he gets at least 30 minutes of physical activity in a day. Now, I know the younger generation is slightly more health conscious than my generation was. My generation was more interested to go out for halwa puri or go out for nihari, right? Your generation, as I understand, and that's why if you go look around, the gyms are coming up everywhere, right? One of our clients, TriFit, you may have seen TriFit, it's a big gym. In fact, the CEO is also a chartered accountant, Ahmed Azam Saab. You might invite him, he's a very good speaker. Ahmed Azam Saab, yeah. So he is the CEO of TriFit, and so fitness is very important. How many of you end up going to the gym or like some kind of exercise? Reasonable, I would say about 30-40% people put their hand up. Build this into your daily life, and the simplest is 20 minutes of walk, right? Remember, your health is something that you cannot compromise. You have to take care of it, right? I myself, in the last, if you saw me 2 months ago, I was 20 pounds heavier. I've dropped 10 kilos in 2 months because I came back with a high cholesterol report. So I had to make changes to my lifestyle. So you have to make changes to your life as and when needed. So take care of your health, it's very important. Now on to your professional journey, I want to talk a little bit about, obviously you're going to now complete your CAF examinations and then you're going to apply for the firms, right? That's going to be the next natural stage for you. So my first point to you is, it doesn't matter where you trained, right? It matters what you do in that training period. Just hear my words for a minute. My own father, he qualified in the UK. He qualified with a very small firm, 2-partner firm. And then he moved to a firm called what was then known as Ernst and Winnie, which then became Ernst and Young. Ernst and Winnie was the name before that. And what he told me was that what I learned in the small firm, by working closely with the partners, by doing tasks that are sometimes done by a manager in a big firm, my learning path was very quick, right? So don't underestimate, there's a rat race lagi hui, and I've seen there a lot of, unfortunately there's a demand supply mismatch in the market where if you take even the top 10 firms by size, there is a significant demand supply mismatch, which means that there will be a number of trainees who are very qualified, very competent, who don't get training positions in let's say the larger firms. My recommendation and request to you is that don't worry about it at all. Don't worry about it at all, not a single bit. It makes very little difference to your overall professional outcome at the end of the day. It will have very little, if any, impact on your examinations. And once you're qualified, then your mobility is so significant and the options available to you are so significant that again the differential will be minimized to a large extent. You can always mix and match your career in terms of blending experience. So for example, if you start with a small firm and then complete your articles and then go on to a medium-sized firm and then eventually to large, or you can mix and match. Either way, it doesn't affect any outcome. I have seen some excellent work done at small firms. And if you were to ask me today, mashallah, we're 1,000 people, but when I joined the firm in 2005, we were about 150 people or 175 people. And if you ask me, and those times we had manual working paper files. You guys belong to the generation where you have using computers. I belong to the generation where we had computers, but we had manual working paper files. And the quality of work that we did in those files, in my view, today also, was better than the quality of work that we do today through automated workflow systems, right? So understand that wherever you are in this training program or training in the firm, as long as while you're at the firm, you're not lamenting or thinking about मैं कहाँ आ गया हूँ, मैं कहाँ बैठा हूँ, काश मैं वहाँ होता, काश मैं ये कर रहा होता, या आप LinkedIn पे जाते हैं और आपके जो सब अपना पोस्ट कर रहे होते हैं, मैं यहाँ हूँ, मैं वहाँ हूँ, ये तस्वीर, वो तस्वीर, उससे हसद पैदा होती है. So someone told me on a lighter note, the best way to develop an inferiority complex is spending time on LinkedIn. Because you think that सिर्फ आप ही हो जो कुछ नहीं कर रहे जिंदगी में. And let me tell you, that will not change, even no matter whether you're right now or you not even join a training program. And for me, 20 years into my career and in the position I'm in, even now when I go on LinkedIn, sometimes I feel that way. So I honestly only check LinkedIn because he asked me to, my head of L&D, and he wants me to post some articles to the firm. Otherwise, I don't spend my time on this. Don't waste your time on all these things. It's right now, it's not important. Like I said, coming back to focus. These are things that are not important at the moment. So, point being that, again, you don't get into placement in one of the top firms, although it's perfectly fine if you go to a large firm also. But if you go to a large firm, understand that your learning will be a different one. There will be a different kind of learning. You will learn academically and bookish, from a bookish standpoint you learn very well. But your actual learning in terms of the skill set required to become a professional, you will actually be behind the person who is working in a smaller firm. Right? So please, I want to take this away from you that you have to be placed at one of the top firms or X top 10 or top 20 or whatever. Take these rankings out. Find a firm which does good, honest work. So do inquire about the reputation of the firm. You got your teachers here and Tabani Saab's guidance available. Any firm which does good, honest work, join them. They'll give you you get a good experience from them, you learn, and you'll be able to develop whatever skill set it is that you need. Okay? The second important thing is that in today's day and age, you have access to resources and materials like we never had. You have access to different kinds of reading material and past papers, examinations, solved solutions, etc. at your fingertips. I gave you my own story where I went to ICAP to ask them, how do I study for this exam? Right? So at that time there was no, they asked me to read the law. Can you imagine what would happen to you in an exam if you just read the law and went? Right? So you have access to a lot of materials. Spend your time researching, identifying the best material. The other point I want to make to you is that one of the very important virtues of being a successful person is being well read and aware of world affairs. What does this do? This makes you an interesting person. Now forget about CA and training and all that. This is the age where you have the ability and time to focus on developing yourselves academically. Don't just read about CA, read about allied areas, read about cyber security, read about global geopolitics, read about world news, read about sports, read about politics, read about philosophy, read about religion. Spend this time that you have gaining knowledge and information. It's a very important, the reason I say it might sound cliche, but it's a time in your life that will never come back. Once you qualify, you get into a very serious job, you will have no time. You get married, you have to give time to your spouse, you have kids, you have to give time to the kids. I often pick up an article to read, but I just can't find time to do it anymore. This is a time in your life when you can actually spend time on reading and studying different topics. But most importantly, what it does is it makes you an interesting person. When I meet people in interviews, or if other partners or other firms or other industries meet you in interviews, what they want to know is this person, what does this person know other than, because otherwise you're all similar to each other. Imagine we get applications, I don't know, we got close to 500 CAF applications for 25 positions. Now, 25 in Karachi. Now these 25 positions, if you divide that, 25 divided by 500, that's like 0.5%. Are you saying that's, sorry, not 0.5, it's 5%. That's lower than Harvard University's acceptance rate. Now, is our profession or is our firm that privileged that we should have such high standards? I don't think so. But that's just the market reality. The reality is that we have limited number of positions, and the reality is that the market is producing X number of candidates available. So it's a mathematics, it's not anything else. Actually, the profession should be creating more opportunities. But unfortunately, our economy has not grown in the way that it had to. And inshallah it will. Inshallah, if the economy grows, I'll come to Pakistan in a minute. But the economy grows as it's supposed to. Country of our resources, the country of our human capital, we should be growing at 8% at least per annum. And that will then create these kind of roles and opportunities. But so the point is that become an interesting person. Spend this time developing. This time in your life will not come back. I often see, when our new batch comes in, or I talk to them, I said, please introduce yourself. Some guy or girl stands up, says, Mr. So-and-so, CAF passed from here. Okay, is there anything else that you'd like to say about yourself? So if I was to ask you all to practice that, how would you describe yourself today? And it makes you think that, is that all I am? I am a CAF passed student who lives in, I don't know, Gulshan, or lives in PCHS, or lives in Southern. There has to be more to you. You have family, maybe someone plays the guitar, maybe someone draws, maybe someone is a poet, maybe someone is a singer, maybe someone plays cricket, right? Maybe someone has written something and done something. So do make yourself a little bit more attractive by trying to distinguish yourself from just an average person. Firms in general, not just ours, but we're not just interested in who's in which FTS cleared, and yes, those are screening measures. And why do we have those screening measures? Because there has to be a pecking order, right, of candidates. But in our firm, for example, I often get candidates referred, and I'll come back to one of the words I used earlier, a candidate who's from 3 or 4 FTS before, and they come to the interview and they're very passionate, and they've been delayed in their FTS for specific reasons. Someone had some family challenges, someone had some other challenges. We listen, we understand what they're trying to say. And if we see the hunger in their belly, and we see that they are interesting people, then we do give people like that opportunity. So make yourself interesting, not just for the profession, but for yourself as a person. It will make you more attractive to your prospective spouse also. So added benefit there. So that's the other point. But coming back to the resilience part, this is very important. You have to also be able to demonstrate resilience. These are important virtues we look for. How tough are kids? We're trying to develop. Now in our firm, for example, we have discipline. Discipline is a very important virtue. From my grandfather's time, we're one of the very few firms in Pakistan who have very tough stance on discipline. So we insist on people arriving on time, and the way they dress, the way they, if their hair is combed, how well they're groomed. These are all important virtues. And why do I mention this? This is, it seems to be very basic, but these are perhaps virtues that are not as well taught in our society as they should be. We often see young men mostly, but some women also. I don't want to get unpopular with the women, who generally are not very careful about the way they dress or the way they appear, right? Appearances are very important. So make sure you pay close attention to that. But I'll give you another story. Can you believe our L&D head had to arrange, I use the word had to arrange a grooming session for our managers and directors. These are qualified chartered accountants with 3 or 4 years post-qualification experience. Somebody didn't know how to tie a tie. Somebody didn't know that you have to close a button up here. Somebody didn't know that it's not alright to walk into a meeting with your beard not properly trimmed or your hair not properly combed. And the worst one, shoes not polished. For the men, shoes make the man. You must, the most embarrassing thing is to be at a public place with shoes that are not polished. And in fact, today I was coming and I knew that I was going to be speaking to you, and I said I must dress slightly better than I normally do. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my shoe cleaner in my home. So before I came here, I actually specially went to the market in Southern myself, and I bought one of those polishes, came back, cleaned it myself, and then I came here. Because I'm not interviewing with you, but for me, I'm not going to applaud. I'm trying to make a point that it's one of those things that it should make you feel embarrassed it's like almost like you're going naked somewhere. If you've got unpolished shoes, especially for the men, it's almost like you're going out naked somewhere. You feel that exposed. So these little things need to be taught in a very important way. So we had to have this grooming session. The other interesting one was, and again Pakistanis, I use the word Pakistanis but in a light-hearted way, is that we have sometimes a very funny choice of color contrasting. Okay. And so our grooming session, can you believe it? There was we hired services. We paid money to a person to come and present what color matches with what. So some people are trying to match a black shirt with an orange pant, and all sorts of random combinations. Right now it's okay, you're a student, enjoy yourself, right? Try out different colors. But when you come into the workplace, yes, I like to see color. We all like to see nice colors, especially the women. But you have a little bit more latitude. But for the men, there's certain colors which blend well together, right? So wear a light shirt, right? Light gray, light blues, and invest in clothing, right? So invest in a nice jacket, a suit, if you can. Whatever you wear it clean. My own father, when he went to study in England, he used to tell me that he used to get very little stipend in UK, and so he could not afford much. So every day when he used to come from work, again the men would know that your collar often gets dirty, but your rest of your shirt is fine. So he used to tell me I used to wash my collar every day when I came back from work, and I used to put it out to dry and wear it again the next morning. So whatever you wear it clean. Can be simple clothing. I'm not asking you to wear extravagant clothing, but dress, right? Dress well, it makes a man or woman, right? It demonstrates that you care about yourself. So these are very important virtues. The other one thing I want to talk about is, it's an unfortunate phenomenon. I use the word unfortunate because it's reality, is spoken communication and ability to communicate, especially in English, is a very important virtue and a very important differentiator between people. Again, there are elements of class here as well. If you've been used to speaking English, like for example I have been, English comes very naturally to me. I can speak Urdu reasonably well as well, but English comes very naturally to me. To many of you, English is not your first language. In fact, in some cases, it's probably not even your second language. It's probably your third language. For example, people from interior or from southern Punjab, whatever, you have your own local dialect, and you have Urdu, and then English comes the third language. Nothing to be embarrassed about. Remember that the firm is your training ground. Once you do join the firm, and even here at the institute, try and speak in English. I'm sure you have English language efforts that you do with your students, but in our firm, for example, we have now started a Toastmasters club internally. Yeah, so we do English language presentation. Asif Abdi, recently there was a ICAP initiative of teaching Harvard University's soft skills program. So we've developed that program from that content, and now we're rolling it out to everyone. One of the most important virtues of successful people is ability to communicate well. It's half the battle won. When you go to a meeting and you're able to communicate well, half the battle is won. Whether it's trying to deal with a difficult client, whether it's trying to deal with a prospective client, or whether it's dealing with a regulator, whatever it is, your quality of spoken English generally does make a difference. So this again is an age where you can work on that. The recommendations I give to young people is, the way the human body works, and I spoke to a child psychologist about this. The way the human body works, which we have got 5 senses. Does anyone know what the 5 senses are? Touch, hearing, sense, eyes, and taste. That's right. Which of these is the strongest sense? Yeah, after research, smell. Very, very good. If you go to a place that you've not been in a long time, just for example, I used to live in Canada. I used to come back after 2 years to visit home, 1 year or 2 years. When you land in Karachi, there's a certain smell. It's a scent. Smell is a negative word. It's a certain scent. That scent brings back memories. Right? When you go to a certain shop and you smell a certain kind of food, it brings back memory. Maybe you went there as a child with your parent. Maybe you went there 10, 20 years ago. Maybe you went there a long time ago. Point is that it's a very strong sense that's been given to us. But the other sense which is very strong is the auditory one, which is listening. The word auditor comes from a Latin word which is auditores. Auditores means to listen. It's not to check, it's to listen. So in our profession, what I'm trying to say is that it's very important that you observe and listen to people around you, because that's part of your development. You will learn by doing. Take examples of your friends and colleagues. Someone may dress well, someone may speak well, someone may present well. Pick up qualities from each of you. These senses allow us to develop. So it's very important that you try and develop this sense as well. Now, as you move along your journey, so as I said, the firm, not an issue. Wherever you go, start that journey. Read different subjects, make yourself knowledgeable about the world. Very important to have that diverse thinking and diverse viewpoint. Of course, keep good company. Keeping good company. Warren Buffett, famous investor you may have read of, one of the most famous investors in the world, he said, the company you keep defines you. हमारे उर्दू में लफ्ज़ है सोबत, अच्छी और बुरी सोबत, right? So it's one of those difficult ones, because there may be people around you who you're familiar with, you're comfortable with, but they don't allow you to grow. They're okay to be your friends. It's fine to be it's fine to be a friend to them, and for you to be a friend to them, and vice versa. But if you really want to have ambition and you want to grow, surround yourself with people who will help develop you. It's a very important. It's a little bit of a selfish way, I think, of looking at life, because the other way of looking at it is that जो सोबत मिलती है वो by destiny मिलती है. You don't often seek it out. But what I'm trying to say is that you try and associate yourself with people in this group or in broader society, those people who will help you develop the right skills, the right thoughts. Thoughts are very important, to have the right thoughts, right? And the right approach and mindset in life, right? Once you're in training, once let's say you get a training contract, it's very important to approach this journey with a certain degree of positivity. And I come back to my earlier word, humility. A lot of young students who join us, I see a little bit of sense of complacency. I talked about that earlier. Complacency means they are okay with the fact that CAF clear हो गया, BDO या ऐसी कोई firm में articles हो गए, enough achieved in life. But I don't think Tabani students are in that category. I know you're all ambitious people. That's why you're here. So complacency should not be something that you should fall into. Don't fall into that trap. But the other issue is people start focusing on the wrong things. I've had junior trainees spend their time talking about what conveyance we should be getting at a client, or lunch में क्या मिल रहा है खाने को, या कौन से क्लाइंट को भेजा जा रहा है, या कौन से डिपार्टमेंट में काम किया जा रहा है. So understand first that your starting point, you are in a place, you are already in a place of privilege, whether it's BDO or any other firm. You've got something that many other people don't have. Make the most of that time. Don't complain. In English, this is called a sense of entitlement. And unfortunately, as I'm growing older and the newer generations are coming, I'm seeing that the millennials, you guys are known as millennials. Millennials are very demanding in terms of their self-entitlement feeling. Now it's fine to have those feelings, but what I'm telling you is that those feelings will not help you in any way, right? Understand that the firm is not there to carry the burden of your professional career journey with you. The firm is there to serve as a platform. You have to extract what you can from that experience. The firm will make opportunities available to you. If you avail those opportunities, you will learn. If you waste those opportunities, you will lose. whatever the opportunity is. If it's a short-term secondment in the tax department, take it. Learn from it. Don't complain, oh, मुझे तो external audit में client करना है, bank audit करना है, ये करना है, वो करना है. Don't get into that self-entitlement phase. Whatever it is, yes, if you have your interest, you can convey your interest. I prefer to work, or I would like to try this out. But focus on the important things. Wherever you are, be happy. You know, the first client I worked on was in Canada, was a shooting club. वहाँ परिंदे नहीं मारते, वहाँ clay के होते हैं, clay pigeons कहते हैं. Clay pigeons हवा में मारते हैं, and you have to shoot them. It was a small not-for-profit. That was my first client. But because it was my first client, and because it was a small job, and I was the only person there, what I learned on that job I'll never forget. And it helped me throughout my career. So, this sense of entitlement should go out the window before you join any firm. Whether it's a big firm, or small firm, or medium firm, we don't make that distinction. I'm going to tell you a little story after this about this big, small as well. So, please try and correct your mental attitude when you're joining a firm. Understand you're there to learn, you're there to take advantage of experiences, you're there to build relationships, and you're there to do a professional grooming. So if your leadership and your HR team is telling you to be there on time, and every day they're telling you you're late, you should thank them for doing that rather than, saying a few unpleasant words about them. You should thank them because they're doing you a service. ये आपको lesson जो है जिंदगी भर याद रहेगा. The other sense I want to talk about is something I can relate to. I talked about this small, big, medium firm, differential and how people think and all that. When I came back to Pakistan, our firm, as I mentioned, was about 175 people. We're one of the oldest firms. As I said, we were established in 1951 when my grandfather qualified. We celebrate 74 years this year. Next year is inshallah our 75th year. So we're one of the oldest firms in Pakistan, amongst the top 3 or 4 firms. A couple of the larger firms were formed before the partition. They were English firms. Our firm was formed after partition. And when I qualified from Canada, I came back. As I said, I was very ambitious then. I used to sit at work till 10, 11 o'clock at night. हमारे दफ्तर में server होता है, data server होता था. I used to send everyone home. I used to sit in the office alone. I used to close the office myself. मुझे याद है हमारा ऑफिस है लैक्सन स्क्वायर में, और रात में वहाँ पे चूहे निकलते हैं फॉल सीलिंग में. Not to scare you all. अब चूहे निकल गए. उस ज़माने में चूहे होते थे. So when I used to sit alone, I remember that when I had to leave the office, I had to make a sound with my feet so that the mice first went away back to wherever they wanted to, and then I could close the office. The purpose of the story is not to explain to you mice behavior. The purpose is to tell you that I had a lot of hunger in my belly. I wanted to do a lot of good work. And the first 15 years of my career, I put in a lot of effort. Hours are not the measure of effort. Effort is measured in how much time and focus and effort you're putting in whatever it is that you're doing. I won't say it was all my doing because of course it was a team effort, but alhamdulillah we were able to grow from 175 to 1,000 people today. And a lot of those initiatives were sort of spearheaded or started by me, right? Those growth, the different service lines or different departments, different geographies. And as I did those efforts, I started becoming more and more confident in my ability. That, okay, if I've set my mind to something, and मैं अच्छी नियत से करूँ, ध्यानदारी से करूँ, honestly करूँ, I'll get to where I need to. I'll be successful in whatever it is that I do. I had that self-belief. Now, if some of you know, because I'm sure you all know international firms and their rankings, एक rankings का system. So BDO globally is number 5. We're number 5 in the international rankings. In Pakistan, we're probably number 3 in terms of size at the moment, at 1,000 people and given our revenues, etc. When we used to, in 2004, when we used to go to, Tabani Sahib would know, we would get invited for bidding for audit of, let's say, National Bank of Pakistan or State Bank of Pakistan or State Life Insurance Company or large listed companies, we often were told, these audits or these engagements are reserved for the big four firms. We started hearing this terminology called big four. Now, I had worked in a big four. I qualified with Ernst Young in Canada. So I'm like, okay, they're saying this, but I'm from Big Four. My father was also from Big Four. Eventually, he started a small firm. What's so special? Why is it that they give preference to this tag or this brand? And I never let it bother me. It became a roadblock in many cases. In 2004, we used to have, as a firm, total of maybe 15 or 18 listed companies as audit clients. Today, mashallah, we have 85 audit listed clients. We are amongst the top listed company auditor, probably after PwC. So, what I'm trying to tell you, the reason I'll tell you is that we used to hear these conversations many times that नहीं बोर्ड यहाँ पे बोर्ड तो बिग फोर की तरफ जाएगा. यहाँ पे थोड़ा पिंच होता था, but मैं हजम कर लेता था because I knew what I was capable of, I knew what I could do, and I waited patiently, and the market dynamics changed, as you may know. In the large firms, some of them have downsized, one has left the market, and overnight the same people who one day used to tell me in meetings that this is reserved for somebody else used to actually chase me कि please आप consent दे दें, या please आप proposal दें, हमें आप ही को लाना है. So point is कि ये जो हमारे माशरे में भी है, एहसास कब्तरी का शिकार, ये इससे आप please don't suffer from this, because this allows you from becoming the person that you want to be or the person that you can be. So whether it's getting articleship in a big firm or a medium firm, whatever it is, don't worry about all that. Let me tell you, 10 years afterwards, 10 साल बाद आपको कुछ ख्याल भी नहीं आएगा इसका. आपको दोस्तियाँ, you remember the friends that you made in that firm, but you won't remember that you had this feeling. Because the opportunities in life present itself in a way and timing that is outside your control. Destiny जो है, ये आपको, destiny is written for you. आप मेहनत करेंगे, you'll get the reward, but you cannot dictate the time. The time is not up to you, it's up to Allah. So point is, never let yourself feel that you're second best. Never let yourself feel that you're not good enough, provided you have put in the effort. If you have not put in the effort and you expect to be rewarded, then you're living in a false sense of entitlement. फिर आप एक ख्याली पुलाव में रह रहे हैं, आप उसी में घूमते रहेंगे कि यार मैं तो बहुत अच्छा हूँ, मैं यहाँ हो जाना था मेरा, या क्यों नहीं हुआ, या इस इम्तिहान में पास हो जाना था. Point is कि you have to put in the effort, and only then can you expect results. Okay? So don't be in this negative mindset, and don't allow anybody else to put you in a negative mindset. I've learned over the years that only I am in control of my own mind and the way I feel about myself and my own achievements. Nobody else can make me feel differently. That will not happen on day one. आज ये महसूस नहीं करेंगे आप, इसके ऊपर आपको मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. In life generally and in our profession, आपको बहुत मौके मिलेंगे to deal with different kind of people and very difficult kind of people. In our line of work, by the way, we deal with many different kinds of people. We deal with very polite people, we deal with impolite people, we deal with abusive people, we deal with threatening people, we deal with very kind and courteous people also. What I tell students is, I've often had students come to me, and not to me but to our HR, and write इस client पे, client मुझसे बहुत नाराज़गी से बात की मुझसे, और मुझे लंच में भी सिर्फ दाल चावल खिलाते रहे. So I tell them that, look, in life and in your profession, this is part of your training, learning to deal with difficult people. अगर आपके सामने एक इंसान है जो बिला वजह जोर से बात कर रहा है या गलत ज़बान में बात कर रहा है आपसे, डज दैट मीन आप उन्हीं की तरह हो जाए? ये आपकी एक आजमाइश है, आपके लिए टेस्ट है कि आप उस सिचुएशन में कैसे रिस्पॉन्ड करते हैं, आप उस सिचुएशन में कैसे रिएक्ट करते हैं. देखिए एक चीज मुझे बताई गई थी हमारा she mentioned I joined this program called BDO Global Partners Program, leadership program. I was selected as one of 12 partners only internationally to join this program. And in this program what they did is, one thing they did which I was very scared about, is they did a psychological assessment of me. I had never been to a psychologist before, but psychologists are scary people, right? Because they can figure you out better than you know yourself. So he made me do this test. It was a simulation test. I did it and he gave me the results. And one of the things he asked me, saying, I have the answer written down here, but I'm not going to show you. He asked me the question, what is your signature sin? Sin, you know the word sin? Sin means आपके अंदर क्या खामी है. Signature sin मतलब कि आपके अंदर, अगर आपके जो लोग जानते हैं, इर्द गिर्द आपके दोस्त, आपकी फैमिली, अगर वो कहेंगे ये आपकी मेजर इशू है आपका, या ये मेजर खामी है, इसको कहते हैं सिग्नेचर सिन. व्हाट इज योर सिग्नेचर सिन? एंड आई न्यू व्हाट इट वाज, एंड आई थिंक वी ऑल नो व्हाट आवर ओन सिग्नेचर सिन इज. वी ऑल नो इट. What he taught me that day, and then he, of course, before I said the answer, my signature sin at that time was being hot-tempered, right? Maybe some of it had to do with the circumstances I was in. Tabani Saab knows my father. My father was also hot-tempered. Very hot-tempered. He said very hot-tempered. Tabani Saab also knew my grandfather, even more hot-tempered. So I would like to think that the temperament is getting slightly better, not the other way around. But I knew that this was there because I used to see this at home. I used to see this around me. And I'm not saying my father and grandfather are bad people. No. This is their signature sin as well. Now, अच्छा कभी कभार we find हम बहाने ढूंढते हैं हमारे signature sin को defend करने के लिए. For example, मुझे अक्सर याद है मेरे वालिद साहब अगर कभी दफ्तर से थके हुए आते थे घर पे, and used to be in a tough mood with us. We were good students, me and my brothers. I have two other brothers younger. We were all good students, but मेरा तीसरा भाई है, he used to get in trouble in school a lot. तो हेडमिस्ट्रेस की नोटिस वगैरह आई तो उसको काफ़ी डांट पड़ती थी, स्पेशली अगर वालिद साहब गलत मूड में वापस आए दफ्तर से. तो my mother used to often justify, he's had a tough day at work. It's okay, let him be. What you have to learn is that nobody, not even yourself, should try and justify your signature sin. आपके signature sin जो है, आपने इस पे काम करना है, आपने इस पे खुद मेहनत करनी है, उसको सही करना है, और कोई भी justification नहीं होती, कोई भी justification नहीं होती. ये आपके अंदर आप अपने आप को बहला रहे हैं. अगर मैं कहूँ कि मैं 1000 लोगों की फर्म का लीडर हूँ, बहुत सारा स्ट्रेस है और हक बनता है मेरा कि मैं नाराज हो जाऊँ या नाराजगी से बात करूँ. मुस्कुरा रहे हैं क्योंकि इन्होंने देखा है मैं नाराज होते हुए. बट नहीं, मेरा हक नहीं है, और ये मेरे लिए भी इट्स समथिंग आई हैव टू कीप वर्किंग ऑन. बट इट्स इम्पॉर्टेंट फॉर यू टू बी अवेयर. आपको मालूम होना चाहिए कि मेरी सिग्नेचर सेंस क्या है. मैं यंग लोगों में देखता हूँ पाकिस्तान में, स्पेशली ट्रेनिंग पूल में, अनफॉर्चुनेटली तबानी साहब यू मे एग्री विद मी, आई एम श्योर, झूठ बोलना. हमारा मजहब भी सिखाता है कि झूठ कितनी बुरी चीज है, बट अ लॉट ऑफ यंग पीपल दे से अ लाई अबाउट द स्मॉलेस्ट ऑफ थिंग्स इन द इजीएस्ट ऑफ मैनर्स. मतलब वो खिचखिचाते भी नहीं 2 मिनट के लिए भी, 2 सेकंड के लिए भी नहीं, इतनी आसानी से झूठ बोलते हैं कि आपको पता ही ना चले, लेकिन आप मुझे पता चल जाता है. बिकॉज एक आपको तजर्बा मिल जाता है कि वर्ड सामने जो आपके बैठा है, बॉडी लैंग्वेज, ये आपको यू कैन रीड पीपल. सो ऑन दैट सेज दैट अगेन इन दिस पीरियड ऑफ डेवलपमेंट, जो आप ये स्टूडेंट्स यू एट या आपकी सोबत जो है, आपके टीचर्स हैं, जिस फर्म में आप जाएंगे, ये आपके शेप करते हैं आपके कैरेक्टर को. लेकिन कुछ अंदरूनी चीज़ें भी होती हैं built by circumstances. जैसे मैंने आपको अपनी एक बहुत पर्सनल बात बताई, ये आई थिंक मेरे कॉलीग्स को भी नहीं पता थी. मैंने जो आपको बताया about my family. It's a very personal thing, but I know it's a problem. I know it's a signature sin, so I have to work on it. And I may never get to fix it completely, but as long as I'm aware and I'm working on it every day, then with the help of Allah and with the best of intentions, I'll get better at it, right? So identify what your signature sin is, whether it's lying too easily. And again, I'm not implying कि आपके family members अच्छे या बुरे नहीं हैं. मैंने अपने family members का भी जिक्र किया है. लेकिन आपको अपने family members से ये भी सीखना है कि क्या नहीं करना. सिर्फ ये नहीं सीखना क्या करना है, पर ये भी कि क्या नहीं करना या कैसे नहीं बनना. ये बहुत जरूरी चीज़ है. So learn from your company, from the company that you keep in all the circles of your life. It's very important. And address your signature sin, whatever that is, be it dishonesty, be it laziness, be it poor work ethic. Many people think it's completely okay to arrive late at places. Again, this is I was very happy to see that attendance here was on time, everyone. But this again is a professional discipline that you'll be taught when you're in the firm. But some firms may not teach it to you. Some firms may not really care. आप 10:30 बजे जा रहे हैं, आप सीखेंगे नहीं. फिर आप जिंदगी भर जो है ना आपकी आदत होगी, आप दफ्तर 10:30 बजे जाएंगे. और जो सुबह का खोया हुआ वक्त होता है वो बहुत कीमती होता है. I also was not a morning person. I was never late, but I was not a morning person. I used to go into work straight away. I started waking up early after my kids were born, after I had my son 15 years ago. And then I used to drop him to school and I used to start my day earlier. And I found that I could get these 2-3 hours of the morning. It completely changed my productivity throughout the day. And simultaneously getting good sleep at night. I talked about well-being. The other side of well-being is getting good sleep. I talked about exercise, but good sleep is equally important. It's very important to get that. Don't underestimate that. Don't spend time late into the night flipping videos on your phone. What is the word for it? Scrolling. Yeah. Doom scrolling. Sorry, that's the one. My wife often tells me. I enjoy watching some sports. So I like, for example, I like snooker. I find watching snooker very relaxing. So sometimes at night before sleeping, I'll see some snooker videos. But this is not a good habit. Don't use your phone at night. Get dressed. It's very important, especially as you as a student. Your eyes already strained from reading our books all day. Maybe just read something, listen to something, watch a little bit of light TV, whatever. But get some good rest. It's very important. But coming back to the point, understand your signature sin. Moving on to your career, I'll just spend the last 5 minutes to explain to you, once you've moved through your articleship, I've told you, you must give time to work, but also time to your studies and examinations. In our trainee pool, we see 2 kinds of trainees. एक वो trainee होता है जो हर दूसरे के काम करने को तैयार होता है. वो इस मैनेजर का भी काम करेगा, इस मैनेजर का भी करेगा. ये थॉट से कि मैं पॉपुलर हो जाऊंगा या मेरे जो सीनियर्स हैं मुझसे मुतमईन होंगे. इंटेंट सही है लेकिन नतीजा नेगेटिव आएगा, बिकॉज आप वो सैक्रिफाइस दे रहे हैं जो जरूरी नहीं है और नुकसान आपको पहुंचेगा, बिकॉज यू विल नॉट हैव इनफ टाइम टू अटेंड योर एग्जामिनेशंस. सो वर्क एंड एग्जामिनेशंस देयर हैज टू बी अ बैलेंस. And you need to know where that red line is. There will be times आपको डेट सेटिंग करनी पड़ेगी जब आपको एग्जाम्स के वक्त करीब पा रहे हैं या जो भी है, आपको अपनी प्रोफेशनल ऑब्लिगेशंस पूरी करनी होंगी. लेकिन नो where your red line is. कि ठीक है जो भी हो जाएगा मुझे ये तो करना है. When I used to study in Canada for the exams there, I used to take the train to go to my client. वहाँ पे obviously फासले लंबे. I used to sometimes have to go 1.5 hours or 2 hours each way. I used to take my books with me. I used to study with me. Now I know obviously Karachi mein you can't study in public transport. You can barely stand, I think, if you use public transport. But point is that find pockets of study. If you've set a target for the day कि ये पढ़ना है आज, make sure you do that. go to the library, wherever it is, make sure you do that. Stick to a study plan and make sure it gets done. My own son, I asked him to put up a study plan on his board and cross out every day, I did this, I did this, I did this. You feel a sense of achievement as you complete the plan. आपको plan complete होते हुए नजर आता है, physically, virtually, visibly, optically आपको नजर आता है कि मेरा ये plan complete हुआ है, उससे आपकी confidence building होती है. ये मैंने ये कर लिया, I've done this, I'm ready, right? So that balance is very important. And the other kind of student is one who doesn't give any effort at work and is studying at clients, and that person also will not be successful because this training period complements your examinations in a certain way. So if you're not putting in the effort at work, you're not going to get that practical aspect that is important for the context of the examination. So make sure you have that balance. If you're fortunate enough to be amongst those who qualify within examinations, start looking for the next qualification. अब मैं क्या करूँगा? I explained to you that your professional journey does not end there, it starts there. These days young people are pursuing all different kinds of programs, diplomas. New fields are coming about. When I was training, there's no such thing as ESG. ESG now is a very important specialty area. Start looking at that. Look at cyber security. Look at data privacy. Look at corporate finance. So there are many other sub-service lines. So one of the things that you might be aware of, that you are all entering into what is known as one of the dying professions of the world. Do you know that? Accountancy is listed amongst the top 20 professions expected to be adversely impacted. I use the word adversely with a reason. Adversely impacted by technology and of course AI, artificial intelligence, etc. Right? So my own son, my eldest son, actually, and this is where you may not like what I have to say, but in the terms of the attractiveness of this profession as the years go on, I would say it's diminishing. Why? Because the profession is not evolving as fast as the world around us is evolving. My own son, my eldest son is chosen, so I was a third generation accountant, but unfortunately I don't think there will be a fourth, because my children are going down the sciences route, the medicine route. So the point is that you are in a profession which is going to change a lot. Between now, and I recently attended a seminar at Habib University where they said that the leading experts initially said that the impact of AI in society is expected 10 years from now. 5 years ago people said this, 10 years from now. Today people are saying, even the leading experts and even the most conservative estimates say within 5 years there will be a very large, what is called convergence. Right? Convergence is the point where artificial intelligence exceeds human intelligence. And that point is called singularity. Have you heard this concept? The word is singularity. Point of singularity will be reached when artificial intelligence exceeds human intelligence. And the way our profession is evolving, and because we have the benefit of being part of an international network, BDO, when I attend all these international events and I see what's happening in the world, how services are changing, how professionals are changing, how education is changing. Of course, our institute as well as Tabani Sahib here, is playing a very important role at our institute as well in terms of reforming the education system. And although ICAP has done very well, I think, to keep it quite modern and relevant, at the end of the day, the pace of technology change is going to outstrip what ICAP is trying to do, because obviously a lag time hai. So when you're coming into the professional world, you must have a very strong understanding of technology, right? So the profession is going to change a lot and you have to make yourselves future ready or future proof. So we've got young trainees who can do things that none of our existing people can do. We've got a young trainees who developed a complete expected credit loss model using Microsoft Power BI. We didn't ask him to do it. He developed it and then he brought it to us for testing and we said, yes, sure, go ahead with this. And it was rolled out nationally across the firm. So technology is going to be very important for you to have a good grip on. You can't say technology, I leave it to the IT people. No. Whether or not your profession is giving you the right level of education, go out, take courses online, but make yourself technology proof. This profession is going to change significantly, right? So as you move towards the end of your article period, you'll have opportunity to pursue different paths. You will pursue paths in the profession, you'll pursue paths in industry, you'll pursue paths internationally, you could pursue paths in government, you can pursue paths with the regulator. Whatever it is that you do, all these paths will have a successful outcome. It is a misnomer that becoming, for example, partner in an accounting firm is the most sort of prestigious thing or is the best thing you could do. It's not like that. This is a perception. Yes, alhamdulillah, being a partner in a firm does give a lot of respect to an individual in society. But that's because it's a role that one plays. We're part of the public trust circle. I'll talk a little bit about that. I have a small anecdote to share. But any of these paths that you choose it again with a sense of purpose, understand what is right for you, what is best suited for you. And try different things out. Don't just stick in the firm just because your manager wants you to stay. Try a role in industry if that's what you feel is right for you. Go internationally if that's what you feel is right for you. Alhamdulillah, this year we had the opportunity to send almost 100 people abroad for secondment, and we have what is called a virtual secondment program, and this year we started with Singapore as well. We had the traditional Middle East countries, but we started Singapore, so we actually have people now working for our Singapore firm. And again, you get experience of so many cultures, Southeast Asia, Middle East, Europe. Great thing about this profession is the mobility. So ये आपका एक benefit है, आप उसको जरूर इस्तेमाल करें, आजमाएं. Because family वाले आपको कहेंगे नहीं जाओ. Of course, you have to respect their wishes, but go take an experience at least. It will add to your professional development. You become a better professional, as a result of it. I was recently, our profession is getting very tough, by the way, especially the audit profession. आप लोग ने सुना होगा, आप लोग पढ़ते भी होंगे, हमारा एक ऐसा रेगुलेटर हामी हो गया है, ऑडिटर ओवरसाइट बॉडी, और जब उनके ऑर्डर्स निकलते हैं तो ऐसा लगता है कि क़यामत की निशानी है. So they're very tough regulator, and in fact I'm speaking next week at an ICAP event with the regulators there present, and I'm going to make this point that the way the regulators in Pakistan are working with our profession is working against the interest of our profession, because young people don't want to take that kind of pressure and stress in their lives. Regulation has to be relevant to the market that you're working in and has to be relevant to the context that you're working in. So this profession is getting tough. So the point I'm trying to make for you is that I'm not sure if that's your route, but don't think that remaining in the profession is the only good or viable path, or becoming the partner in a firm is the only sign of success. There are many other routes available, and you don't have to decide it now. Just keep an open mind, go with the flow, experience different things. In fact, in my old firm in Canada, my managing partner they said that the least intelligent people end up as the head of accounting firms. So as you know, I'm speaking for myself. So there are a lot of other great things to do. Use the firm as a training ground. From there, build your career wherever it makes sense. For those of you, the anecdote I wanted to share was I was sitting with my friend who was also, I won't take his name, but he was a managing partner of another large firm. And I was telling him that day his profession is getting very tough, very difficult to get people to stay on to become partner. Even though, financially it's quite rewarding, but people just don't want to take that stress. They don't want to take that work-life balance issue, right? Coming back to that work-life balance. Now when you're in your mid-40s, you don't want to be working all the time. Or when you're in your early 50s, you don't want to be working all the time. You want to give time to your family. So the balance starts to change, and if your work doesn't allow you to change, then you're not going to be happy. So in my BDO meetings that I recently went to, we went to the head of audit. So all the head of audit from all the world, we met. The meeting was in Dubai. And I could sense everyone, middle-aged people, men and women, all complaining, all unhappy in their roles, all talking about when are we going to retire. I guess people who are late 40s, early 50s and talking about retirement already. So I said, look, why are people so unhappy? And some people said it's midlife crisis. But you see, the problem is that in our profession, what happens is it's a bit of a slippery slope. अगर आपने बहुत वक्त गुजार लिया प्रोफेशन में थिंकिंग कि यही मुझे जर्नी अंडरटेक कर दी है एंड फिर आप इंडस्ट्री में नहीं जा सकते बिकॉज अगर आपको जाना पड़े तो इट्स टू लेट या आपको लोअर लेवल पे जाना पड़ेगा. People are then afraid to take those choices and end up staying around. Vice versa in industry also, but I'm talking about the profession. So I asked my colleague, what is it that we're doing? Are we like, I'm sure, if you look at other professions, you look at an architect, they're creating a building. You look at a doctor, they're saving lives. You look at a pilot, they're flying a plane. What is it that we're doing? We're just signing one paper which says the same thing for everyone is writing the same thing, same format. What value are we contributing? So I was in a negative mood that day. So again, he's also a leader in another accounting firm. He said, Zulfikar, what we're doing is, you have to understand why we exist. We exist because the public holds trust in us. What we're selling is trust. And that's a public good. That's a public good. So some people want to be playing that role in society. I often tell my family members when I come home that we fight a lot of, as professionals, we fight a lot of silent moral battles every day. What do I mean by that? Maybe in the morning I explain to a client that he can't pass this entry just to reduce his tax because it's incorrect from an accounting standards point of view. What have I done? I've shown him the moral compass. I've shown him the right way. Later in the afternoon, I've called a staff member who came late to work and explained to him the importance of being on time or speaking the truth or whatever it is that I'm lecturing them on. And I've done some good. I've helped someone become a better professional. Right? So, we continue to fight these silent battles as professionals. As professionals, many people don't know about the difficult decisions and difficult conversations we have with clients. You see many listed company accounts, but do you know the difficult things that have happened are behind that? No, many people don't find out. But these battles go on silently. So, if you are the kind of person who holds honesty, truth, integrity, ethics in very high regard, I'm hoping many of you do, but if you feel that that is your reason for existence, then this is a good profession for you, right? If you are a detail-oriented person, this is a good profession for you. If you, on the advisory side, if you are good at finding solutions to problems, then the profession is good for you in the advisory department. The good thing is our profession is evolving. Previously we used to have audit, tax, a little bit of advisory. Now we're quite broad. We have corporate finance, we have technology advisory, we've got ESG, we've got cyber security, we've got different kind of service lines. So we got legal and corporate affairs. So you can chart your career in different ways in a firm. So the firm platform is certainly very good. It has its challenges, but it's not meant for everyone. So the message to you is that once you find your way into professional employment, make sure you try and experience or get a flavor for different things. Because यही आपका मौका होता है experiment करने का. And once you identify and discover कि आपकी क्या strengths हैं, weaknesses हैं, क्या आपके areas of interest हैं, then you'll sort of pursue that to a greater degree. Last thing, I'll finish with that. Smile more often. This is again a problem in our profession. Students, even some of the chartered accountants, very serious people. Don't smile and joke around. No, smiling and laughter gets us through life, gets us through difficult times, and it's something you should practice every day. And I often tell our people it'll get you better results in your exams as well, because it helps you be a healthier person, right? So young man there is smiling quite a bit, so that's good. it's a good way to be, and it's a good way to. It makes you a pleasant person. Again, when we interview people, and a very serious, bookish-looking person is interviewing, it gives a very different impression. If you're smiling, relaxed, you'll get through life more easily. आप लोगों ने सुना होगा एक terminology है IQ, and then there's EQ. EQ is very important. You know, EQ is a greater indicator of successful people than IQ. So emotional quotient, your emotional IQ, in terms of how resilient you are, how sensitive you are, how mature you are in terms of your reactions and your thoughts. These are very important. Your ability to interact with others, your ability to empathize with others, दूसरे को समझना, ये ऐसी skill sets कई ज़्यादा rare हैं और कई ज़्यादा मुश्किल हैं develop करना compared to IQ. Knowledge can be acquired. EQ is difficult to develop, but you can develop it also. It's not that you can't develop it. You can develop it, but it's difficult to develop. It requires a lot of effort. Spend this time in your firm developing EQ, right? Practice all these things. So with that, I thank you. I've taken a lot of your time, and I hope some of my talk was quite general, but I thought that these are my own sentiments. By no means am I any kind of expert or anything. I've been blessed, Allah has been kind, but I've had a lot of help along the way. And inshallah, all of you will have help along the way. I wish all of you great success and happiness. Thank you. So happy to take any questions or comments, or also ask my colleagues to come up. Asif? No, it's okay. That's right. Asif Abdi is our head of learning and development.
Hello everyone.
And Nawal Khola Said is our HR business partner. Ji, any questions for me or for my HR team? Happy to take. Yeah.
This might be out of context, but
Nothing out of context.
so as a young individual who don't have any practical experience with life, so what department should we prefer once we qualify FCA? Because we aren't aware what actually is being done on audit, tax, advisory. As you mentioned, the field is evolving. So how can we figure out what is best for us at initial stages?
If I was to give you a very simple answer, which you may not like, is it doesn't matter. It might sound strange, but it doesn't matter. What you're looking for is the experience. Remember, you come into a firm, they're going to give you some assurance hours because they're mandatorily required to do it. But really what you're in a firm for is to learn how to be a professional. How do I get up in the morning, as I explained to you? No one will tell you this, but that's what you're really learning. You're learning how to talk to people, you're learning how to come to work on time, you're learning how to work with people, how to report to people, how to take instructions, how to respond to instructions. That's what the learning is. That applies in every field. I get requests from many people. If you check my WhatsApp, especially when the recruitment season is on, I get a lot of requests for people to get inducted in the firm, obviously in my position. I'm very clear, and I think the camera is on, I'm on record to say, we have a very clear policy in our firm that it's completely merit based in terms of interview stage, the testing phase, and once it comes to the final selection, we've actually allowed only 5 partners in our firm to make specific recommendations based on their network, and I'm speaking very openly here. The rest of the entire candidate pool comes completely on merit. Now, when the candidate comes on merit, they're based on what kind of vacancy exists. Now, if the vacancy is in tax, let's say you're getting an audit, let's say you're getting a position in audit in a small size firm, and you're getting a position at BDO in tax. What would you take?
I would prefer BDO because of the exposure.
Right. And what I'm telling you today is throw that out the window. Throw BDO brand out of the window for the time being. It doesn't matter. It will not matter. 10 years from now, inshallah, you will be here speaking at Tabani, and you will tell everyone in the audience that it doesn't matter where you do your training from. I know it sounds a little bit hard to believe,
and you're probably saying, अच्छा आप तो खुद तो Ernst & Young Canada से करके आए, but it doesn't matter. So similarly with the service line, it doesn't matter. You'll get enough opportunity to learn different things along the way. Our audit teams sometimes do tax work. Our auditors in the off season sometimes do outsourcing work. Our outsourcing team sometimes does internal audit work. In our firm, we've got a fairly good rotational program, so we try and give a broad-based experience. I'm talking about our firm. Some of the larger firms, if you go to large firms, they will bottleneck you. If they take you in tax, then you have to remain in tax for 3 years. They'll give you the assurance hours, but you'll pretty much remain there. But the general answer is, it actually doesn't matter. Right now, I would say be grateful if you get an opportunity. If you get a good opportunity in a firm which does good, honest work, take it, whatever the opportunity is. It's in tax or internal audit. And then be guided. Go talk to your professionals, your leaders. If they say that there is a vacancy available in audit and we'll transfer you and you want to try it out, say okay. But don't resist it. Don't say, nahi, mujhe listed company karna hai, bank karna hai. This is a constant request I get. I get requests. आपने ले लिया इस लड़के को internal audit में, उसको transfer करें external audit में. Okay, I've heard you. We'll try to make it happen. But if it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world. Understand that you're there to learn. Try and understand the context. Yeah?
अस्सलामुअलैकुम सर।
वालेकुम।
जब कैंडिडेट्स को फाइनलाइज किया जाता है तो देखा क्या जाता है उनमें, क्योंकि सारे ही कैफ क्वालिफाइड होते हैं, तो उनमें मेन चीज़ क्या देखी जाती है?
Okay, look, once you are CAF qualified, we obviously have a test that we do. So then we look at that test score. See, we also have to be fair. We want to be fair and equitable. So to be fair and equitable, there's a concept of a standardized test. दुनिया भर में होता है, right? You have medical profession में एक test होता है, हमारा ICAP में भी होता है, PPT कहते हैं, I believe it's called. पहले तो खत्म हो गया. Sorry, I'm not that in touch with the system. But many professions have a hurdle that you have to cross. So in our firm, we have to cross this test. But once you cross that test, what I wanted to say was that you have to differentiate yourself somehow, right? So what matters in my view is communication skills. If you look at my form, I'm just trying to remember the form. There are 4 or 5 categories on it. So communication skills is one of them. Test score is one of them. Examination history is one of them. Appearance is one of them. Anything else, Nawal, that I'm missing? Yeah? And of course, the way they respond to questions in the interview. So specific questions are asked, surprise questions or just general questions, questions about world affairs. So we don't want someone who's just going to answer Mr. X, CAF, 20 years old. Gulshan, that's it. That's all the end of your story of life. You've lived 18, 20, most of you are what, early 20s or below that? Early 20s. So most of you have had a lot more interesting things to say about yourself, right? How many of you cook? Good to see some of the men hands go up as well. Although I'm not sure I want to try your cooking. But talk about, for those of you who are here from out of town, tell a nice story. There was this interesting article I read, is how to tell a story. इसकी भी एक आर्ट होती है. आपके दोस्तों के ग्रुप में कुछ होंगे ऐसे जो स्टोरीज बड़ी अच्छी सुनाते हैं, जिस अंदाज से सुनाते हैं, जिस टोन से सुनाते हैं, जिस एक्सप्रेशन से सुनाते हैं. You all know, you all have those friends. और आप देखते हैं कि आप रूम में बैठे होंगे, आप शादी में एक टेबल पे बैठे हैं, 8-10 लोग, और सबकी तवज्जो उनकी तरफ. They capture the audience. That's a very, very great skill set to have. How to hold the room, right? There is a poem. आप लोग अभी I cannot recall the exact words, but read that poem. It's a poem called "If" by Rudyard Kipling. Right? Go and read that, and it talks about if you can hold the room, right? If you can hold your place and capture people's imagination, that's a great skill to have. So be able to tell a joke, smile. We're looking for people to smile in an interview. Who can be the right type of person? But look, as I said before, it's a mathematics issue. I think, inshallah, everyone is capable, everyone is competent, everyone can contribute. Try and differentiate yourself is the point. But on the the other side is be interesting. So tell a story about your favorite dish that you like and how you cook it, right? So make yourself a little bit interesting. That's what I would say. Anything else? We also are doing excellent things on the L&D side. So Asif, for example, has a year-long program. We do webinars, online training, physical training. We do physical activities, and a lot of these things are now becoming common in all the firms. So I feel that the millennials have also given a lot of pressure to the firms to become better employers. कुछ हमारे practices जो थी past में were not great. They were not very progressive. We've also changed, and we're trying to do better. We're trying to make a better work-life balance. In our firm, for example, we discourage late sitting. A specific form has to be signed and authorized by a partner if any staff is going to sit in the office after 8 p.m. And that form is signed after great difficulty, which means that we're severely trying to reduce our late sitting hours. But on the flip side, we want people to arrive on time in the morning. So we're trying to fix that as well. Any other questions? Not? Then we'll thank you. Thank you.
First, I would like to thank sir for all the insightful facts. And now moving on to conclude this impactful session, I would like to invite our respected principal, Sir Tabani, to please come on stage and share a few words with us.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Zulfikar, for such a lovely and insightful, and मेरे ख्याल है कि within short period of time you have learned what we are teaching you over 2 years. So you summarize whatever we are teaching just in a very short period of time. So thanks again. कुछ चीज़ें आपको मैं शेयर कर दूँ आपकी फर्म्स के बारे में भी, और शायद कुछ चीज़ें आपको ना भी पता हो. तो उसमें ये है, you bring me to the age when I was a trainee at the firm. तो बहुत अच्छा लगा बहुत सारी चीज़ों को दोबारा रिकॉल करके. मैं कुछ देर के लिए तो जो है वो फर्म का, you have not expressed कि आपकी actually your firm is in Liaison Square, but previously it was at II Chandigarh Road, and I had been a trainee over there. So वो फर्म और आज की फर्म जो है, there is no match about that. तो there's a huge improvement. तो बहुत टाइम के बाद जो है I went to Liaison Square. तो बहुत अच्छा लगा, और मैं भी शेयर करता हूँ my experience. जैसे जुल्फिकार साहब ने ये कहा कि he really respect me just like a father. और हम बहुत सारी चीज़ें जो बड़ी शेयर करते रहते हैं. तो and I respect कासिम साहब, honestly speaking, very honestly speaking, as my father. So आप जैसे उन्होंने कहा एंगर, तो कासिम साहब जो है when we used to sit for a review of the file, तो कासिम साहब he himself reviewing the file, और एक पेपर, because he was so experienced at that time, तो उन्होंने बोला ये देखा है. तो मैं कहा शायद कोई इस किस्म का अगर कोई वेट सा अगर वर्ड अगर हो जाए ना, बस आपकी शाम आ गई. सो देखिए एट दैट टाइम आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 1984. तो उस वक्त जो है वो आई थिंक नहीं BDO आ चुकी थी, BDO का एफिलिएशन था. हाँ, तो 84 में BDO वाज देयर. तो लेकिन BDO का या जो बहमन कंपनी का जो टैग था वो उतना पावरफुल नहीं था जितना फॉर्चुनेटली अभी है. सो एवरी टाइम when I hear about, تو میرے خیال سے میرے بہت سارے اسٹوڈنٹس کو پتا بھی نہیں ہے کہ I was from BDO. تو ذوالفقار نے ایک بڑی اچھی چیز کہی, دیکھیں when I entered into the profession, یہ جس لرننگ, تو مجھے کسی بھی بڑی فرم میں نہیں مل رہا تھا. So I joined AR Diwan and Company and I continued my training over there for 1 year and 10 days exactly. And then I joined BDO. اچھا, اس فرم کے اندر جو ہے وہ نہ جانا از اے نارم. AR دیوان کمپنی وہ ہوتا ہے کہ فون کرتے تھے, بلا لیتے تھے, اور لوگ جو ہے اکثر گھر والوں کو کہتے تھے کہ نہیں ہے تو 2 مہینے کی پھر چھٹی. تو میں یہ نہیں کرتا تھا, آئی یوز ٹو گو. بٹ when I joined BDO, تو believe me or not, although اس وقت بہت بڑی فرم نہیں تھی, لیکن اسٹرکٹنیس واز امیزنگ. مطلب وہاں پہ BDO میں میرے خیال سے پہلے بھی اسٹرکٹنیس تھی اور ابھی بھی ہے, اور وہ اسٹرکٹنیس از دی کور ویلیو. اگر آپ کو اگر BDO میں سے اسٹرکٹنیس کو ہٹا دیں تو میرے خیال سے آپ کی لرننگ جو ہے وہ ہاف رہ جائے گی. تو آئی اپریشیٹ دس اسٹرکٹنیس, کیونکہ بہت ساری فرمز جو بگ 4 ہے اس کے اندر ایون مائی اسٹوڈنٹس, میں ان کو اکثر کہتا ہوں کہ یار تم لوگ جاتے کب ہو فرم میں یا دا ٹائمنگس, تو دے نارملی گو ٹو دی فرمز اور کلائنٹ almost at 11:30 or after 11. اب آپ دیکھ لیں کسی بھی بڑی فرم میں, تو آپ دیکھیں پنکچولیٹی ڈزنٹ مین کہ آپ جو ہے وہ صرف ٹائم پہ آ جائیں, آپ ٹائم پہ آئیں اور ٹائم پہ جائیں. When I was in Ibrahim and Company, I was very punctual for coming as well as going. تو میں اکثر پنگے کرتا تھا فار لیٹ سیٹنگ, اور کوئی نہ کوئی معصوم سا بہانہ بنا کے اپنی جان چھڑا لیتا تھا. I was not a good student, I was good student but not a genius student. تو my target was balance, کہ 5 بجے تک تو کام کرنا ہے اور بالکل ریلیجیسلی کرنا ہے, اس کے بعد نہیں کرنا. اس کے بعد somehow I managed to go for the studies. اور وہ بڑا مشکل کام تھا قاسم صاحب کے لیے کہ 5 بجے کسی کو چھوڑ دینا. تو I tried my level best کہ اس کو بیلنس کریں. اچھا, نمبر 1 I joined Ibrahim and Company, AR Diwan and Company. Then at that time Ibrahim and Company, Ibrahim Dawood wala صاحب, میں تھوڑا سا ان کے بارے میں بھی I share. And then اس کے بعد جو ہے after completing my training from Ibrahim and Company BDO, then I qualified. بیچ میں تھوڑی ٹائم کے لیے میں نے شاید جاب بھی کی تھی. And then I joined KPMG. تو lot of people knows me کہ I am from KPMG. تو جب ان کو میں بتاتا ہوں کہ نہیں, my real firm was where I took the training, and believe me or not, میں آپ کو بالکل آپ ذوالفقار یہاں بیٹھے ہیں اس لیے نہیں کہہ رہا, I am telling you honestly, وہ یہ ہے کہ when I joined BDO, when I joined KPMG, after BDO, believe me or not, I joined as a assistant manager in KPMG. Even for a single day, I did not find any difficulty or any gap between the working style of BDO and the KPMG. Believe me or not. So مجھے کبھی بھی ایسا فیل نہیں ہوا. اور جو ورکنگ اسٹائل, the paper style, مطلب جو جس قسم کے ورکنگ پیپر بنتے تھے, then I started my own practice. First AR دیوان, then اس کے بعد یہ, and then KPMG. تو then الحمدللہ کوئی کہیں پہ کوئی ایسی چیز نہیں ہے. تو کہیں اگر آپ کو اسمال فرمز ملتی ہے تو ٹھیک ہے, definitely everyone wanted to go for the better option. بٹ اگر نہیں ملتا تو جرنی وہاں پہ اسٹاپ ہو نہیں جاتی. ٹھیک ہے, اس کے بعد جو ہے نیکسٹ آپشن, اینڈ دین اس کے بعد جب آپ کسی اسٹیج پہ پہنچ جائیں گے تو آپ یو کین جوائن دی ادر آپشنس. تو KPMG میں نے جوائن کیا, وہاں کا ایکسپیرینس ہو گیا. تو ناؤ آئی نو کہ واٹ بگ فرمز آر ڈوئنگ, واٹ ایوریج فرمز آر ڈوئنگ, اینڈ واٹ دی لوئسٹ فرم آر ڈوئنگ. When I started my own practice, so I did not follow the KPMG, I followed the BDO. And میرے جتنے بھی ورکنگ پیپرز وغیرہ ہوتے تھے, کیونکہ بڑی زبردست قسم کے ہم لوگ انہوں نے کہا کہ ریفرنسنگ اور مینول ورکنگ پیپرز ہوتے تھے, تو those were amazing. So that experience was really amazing. Secondly, his grandfather was a legend. مجھے نہیں پتا کہ ان کو برداشت کیسے ہوا ہوگا کہ 2 دفعہ جو ہے you failed in tax because he was a legend tax practitioner. مطلب کراچی کے اندر ان سے اچھا اور ان کی جو opinions ہوتی تھیں those were final. And for Mr. Ahmed, his communication and written skill was again unmatched. مطلب the way he was writing اور جو ان کی جو اسٹائل تھا لکھنے کا تو that was amazing. So fortunately Zulfikar is blessed again, yes, کہ he has a legacy of and grandfather, then father, and then himself. His next generation must be even more privileged to have this type of legacy. So I'm sure. ایک اور چیز کیونکہ میں زیادہ ٹائم نہیں لوں گا کیونکہ انہوں نے بہت سارے پوائنٹس ڈسکس کیے ہیں اور آئی وانٹیڈ ٹو شیئر بٹ اٹ ول ٹیک مور ٹائم. تو کچھ چیزیں ایک چیز جو ہے آپ نے کہا انٹرسٹنگ, لیکن یو ہیو ٹو میک یور سیلف انٹرسٹنگ. جیسے انہوں نے کہا کہ جیسے کوکنگ کے بارے میں آپ نے, تو کوکنگ کے بارے میں تو اگر نہ بھی کریں تو لیکن کوئی نہ کوئی آپ کے اندر ڈسٹنکٹیو چیز ضرور ہونی چاہیے کہ جس سے آپ کو لگے کہ ہاں یار یہ جو ہے ہی از تھنکنگ آؤٹ آف باکس. تو بہت زیادہ ٹائم آپ نہ لگائیں لیکن کچھ نہ کچھ ڈسٹنکٹیو چیزیں آپ کے اندر ہونی چاہیے. جیسے ہی نو اٹ ویری ویل, اور مجھے اب بہت سارے جو پروفیشنلز ہیں وہ ایز اے چارٹ اکاؤنٹنٹ نہیں جانتے. وین آئی گو اینی ویئر تو مجھے ایز اے ایگریکلچرسٹ جانتے ہیں. تو اور ذوالفقار مجھے اکثر جو ہے وہ کہتے ہیں کہ یار وی آر انسپائرڈ, کہ ابھی تو میں کم ڈالتا ہوں لیکن ادروائز میں فیس بک پہ ڈالتا تو ان کے کمنٹس ضرور آتے تھے ذوالفقار صاحب کہ یار یہ دس از امیزنگ. تو آپ کچھ نہ کچھ ایسا کریں نا کہ جس سے آپ کی تھوڑی سی, کیونکہ تھیراپی از نیسسری. جس چیز کو آپ انجوائے کرتے دیٹ از دی بیسٹ تھیراپی, اور سب سے بیسٹ تھیراپی جو ہے وہ ایگریکلچر ہے, بلیو می اور ناٹ. تو میں یہ نہیں کہہ رہا کہ مطلب ہے کہ آپ نے چھوڑ کے جو ہے اسٹڈی اور ایگریکلچر کی طرف چلے جائیں, تو لیکن اگر تھوڑا سا ٹائم بھی جو ہے نا یہ نیچر کے قریب آپ کو لے کے جاتا ہے. A8 کا کوئی اسٹوڈنٹ تو نہیں ہے یہاں پہ, شاید سیکشن A8 کا تو یہاں نہیں ہوگا. میں نے اسٹارٹیڈ مائی سیکشن A8 تو پہلا سوال میں نے بچوں سے یہ پوچھا جو انہوں نے بھی پوچھا ہے کہ ہاؤ مینی آف یو آر ڈوئنگ ایکسرسائز اور اسپینڈنگ سم ٹائم فار دس فزیکل ایکٹیویٹیز. تو اس کلاس کے اندر آئی واز سرپرائز, میرے خیال سے اراؤنڈ 50 اسٹوڈنٹس تھے, 5 یا 6 ہاتھ جو ہے انہوں نے ریز کیا. اور پھر کچھ بچوں نے مجھے کہا کہ سر ہم جم جاتے ہیں. میں نے کہا کہ جم جو ہے نا وہ ایکسرسائز نہیں ہے. جم جو ہے اب پارٹ آف دی ایکسرسائز ایکٹیویٹی. ایکچولی اگر آپ صرف واک بھی کر لیں اور تھوڑی سی اسٹریچنگ ایکسرسائز کر لیں دیٹ از انف. تو جم پہ جانا تو بہت ضروری نہیں ہے. آج کل جم جو ہے وہ فیشن بنا ہوا ہے. کیا ہوتا ہے, ایک تو ہوتا ہے نا کہ سوری ٹو سے یہاں پہ اگر کسی نے بہت زیادہ جم پہ ٹائم لگایا ہوا ہے, انکلوڈنگ مائی اون سن, اگر آپ میرے بیٹے کو دیکھیں گے نا تو ایسا لگتا ہے جیسے کوئی جیسے بقرعید کے لیے نا گائیوں کو تیار کرتے ہیں, تو باڈی یہاں سے ذرا سی پھول گئی اور یہ پھول گئی. تو کچھ ہوتا کیا ہے, جیسے آپ کی ایج ہمارے جیسی ہوگی تو اس کا جو سیٹ بیک آتا ہے, ریورس بیک ہوتا ہے نا, وہ اس سے زیادہ ڈیزاسٹر. سو آئی ہیو بین آسکنگ مائی اون سن یا ڈونٹ ڈو دوز تھنگس. تو یس فزیکل ایکٹیویٹیز جو ہیں آپ سمجھیں کہ یہ آپشنل نہیں ہے, یہ کمپلسری ہے. ایون ایٹ دس ٹائم آئی ایم ٹرائنگ مائی لیول بیسٹ. اگر کبھی 1 آدھ مہینہ گزر جاتا ہے تو مجھے بڑا فیئرز ہوتے ہیں, یار سم تھنگ از مسنگ, بہت نقصان ہو رہا ہے. تو آئی ایم ٹرائنگ ایٹ لیسٹ ہاف این آور جو ہے منیمم ایوری ڈے واک کیا, اسٹریچنگ ایکسرسائز جو ہے وہ ضرور ہونی چاہیے. کوشش کریں کہ کسی بھی ایج پہ الحمدللہ آپ کے پاس یہ چیزیں ہونی چاہیے. ایک چیز اور میں آپ کو بتا دوں کہ فائنل میں آئی ہیڈ اونلی 1 پیپر, اور اگر وہ پیپر رہ جاتا تو آئی ہیڈ ٹو ٹیک لیپس اور وہ دوبارہ 4 پیپر دینے پڑتے ہیں. اچھا ورک جو مجھ سے ہو سکتا تھا وہ میں نے کر لیا. تو آن دی ڈے آف ایگزام جسٹ ٹو ریموو مائی اسٹریس اینڈ سو آئی اسپینڈ, ایسا شاید کوئی نہیں کرتا ہوگا, کسی ایک ہی پیپر ہے وہ لاسٹ اٹیمپٹ ہے, آئی اسپینڈ آلموسٹ ہاف این آور اور 20 منٹس ٹھیک ہے نا گوئنگ آؤٹ اور تھوڑی سی واک کے لیے. تاکہ میرے جب دماغ، کیونکہ ایک پیپر اور وہ کوالیفائی اگر نہ ہو تو 4 پیپر دوبارہ دینے، اس سے بڑا اسٹریس جو ہے میرے گھر سے کسی کو نہیں ہوگا. تو جسٹ ٹو ریموو دیٹ اسٹریس، لوگ کیا کرتے ہیں کہ ہال میں جانے کے بعد بھی جو ہے وہ کتاب کو پڑھ رہے ہوتے ہیں کہ یار ابھی کچھ ہو جائے گا. یار وہ تو پڑھ چکے نا، اس وقت آپ کو صرف اپنے آپ کو مینٹلی جو ہے، تو جو مینٹل اسٹریس سے باہر آنا از اگین ویری امپورٹنٹ. ایک بات ایسے ہی میں نے آن لائٹر نوٹ ذوالفقار نے بھی ایک اور چیز یہ کی کہ لنکڈ ان کے اوپر جو ہے ڈونٹ ویسٹ یور ٹائم. تو آج کل خیر ہمارے جو کچھ ٹیچرز ہیں پروفیشنلز، کیونکہ ان کے لیے ضروری ہے کہ دے ہیو ٹو بی آن لنکڈ ان تاکہ تھوڑا سا پروفائل ان کا. تو اس نے مجھے ایڈ کیا، ریکویسٹ بھیجی کہ ٹو ایڈ. تو میں نے جب اس کا پروفائل دیکھا تو میں نے دیکھا کہ اچھا یہ تو میرا وہ والا اسٹوڈنٹ ہے. تو میں کلاس میں آیا تو تم نے جو ہے کل بھیجا ہے، تم یہاں تو ایسے میں کور ورڈ یوز کر رہا ہوں آپ لوگوں کے لیے، نہیں یہاں تو تم ایسے چھچھوڑے لگتے ہو، اور لنکڈ ان کے اندر تم نے ایسا پروفائل بنایا ہوا ہے کہ آئی واز سو امپریس کہ یار یہ کون ہے. تو انہوں نے بالکل صحیح کہا کہ لنکڈ ان کے اندر تو ایسا لگتا ہے جیسے پتا نہیں وہ یہی ہے یہ، ٹھیک ہے نا. تو ڈفرینٹ ورڈ، تو بہت زیادہ امپریس ہونے کی بھی وہاں پہ ضرورت نہیں ہوتی اور اس قسم کی. اچھا آئی واز تھنکنگ کچھ چیزیں میں آپ کو تھوڑا سا تاکہ ہماری ایک کام تو آپ نے بہت اچھا کیا اور سب اسٹوڈنٹ سن بھی لیں کہ مجھ سے جو نا پچھلے 2 دن سے جو اسٹوڈنٹس آ کے پوچھتے ہیں کہ سر کرائٹیریا کیا ہے، کیوں ہمیں کال نہیں کر رہے. تو میں ان کو یہی بتا رہا تھا، میں نے کہا کہ آج کل فرمس کے پاس اینڈ یو رائٹلی کلیریفائڈ دیٹ کہ فار 25 سیٹس اتنی سیٹس ہے تو ڈیفینیٹلی، اور سب کو تو بلایا نہیں جائے گا نا، سب کو ٹیسٹ کے لیے بھی نہیں بلایا جائے گا. اٹس ناٹ پاسبل فار اینی فرم کہ سب کو بلایا جائے. تو ہمیں بلایا کیوں نہیں گیا، ایٹ لیسٹ ہمیں چانس ہوتے. تو میں نے کہا یار کیسے ہو سکتا ہے، اینڈ ڈیفینیٹلی ان کو سمجھانا پڑتا ہے. اینڈ فائنلی لاسٹ ٹائم جو ہے منیزہ آئی تھی، انہوں نے بھی جو ہے یہ چیز کہا کہ فرمس کے اندر اگر وہ میرٹ کے اوپر نہ رہے تو فرم نہیں چلتی. تو بہت ہی کم مارجن ہوتا ہے جو ریفرنسز کا ہوتا ہے، اور تبانی صاحب کا ریفرنس تو بالکل ذوالفقار لیتے ہی نہیں ہے، ٹھیک ہے نا. تو صرف میں ان سے ایک ریکویسٹ یہ کرتا ہوں، دیکھیں اگر یہ میری ریکویسٹ کے اوپر کرے گا تو اس کو 25 بندے میرے اپوائنٹ کرنے پڑیں گے، ٹھیک ہے نا. تو سم ٹائمس کبھی کوئی بہت اچھا بچہ ہوتا ہے نا، تو میں اس کے لیے یہ ریکویسٹ کرتا ہوں سر ایٹ لیسٹ اس کو انٹرویو کے لیے بلا دیں. تو اگر انٹرویو چل رہا ہوتا ہے تو انٹرویو کے لیے بلا لیتے دین اٹ از یور نا، لیکن اس کے آگے ہم کچھ نہیں کر سکتے اور کوئی بھی کچھ نہیں کر سکتا. تو اگر اور منیر نے بالکل کہا تھا کہ وی آر ٹرائنگ کہ ہم کوئی ریفرنسز نہ لیں. تو ریفرنسز کا جو سب کے دماغ میں یہ ہوتا ہے کہ سر وہ ریفرنسز کے بغیر ہوتا نہیں ہے، تو ایسا نہیں ہے، ٹھیک ہے نا. آپ کو اپنی جو انڈیویجولیٹی جو ہے اس کو شو کرنا بہت ضروری ہے. اچھا فار دیٹ کہ ہم اپنے بچوں کو جو ہے آئی کلیم ون تھنگ کہ ہماری جو ٹیم ہے فار انٹرویو اسکلز، ابھی ہم نے لاسٹ ویک جو ہے سارے جو ہمارے بچے ہیں ان سب کو ہم نے موک انٹرویوز کروائے. ان کو باقاعدہ جو ہے وہ لکھ کے بتایا کہ آپ کا یہ ایشوز ہیں، تو دے لرن اے لاٹ. سیکنڈلی جو کمیونیکیشن اسکلز ہیں یہ ہے وہ ہے ICAP میں جو ہے بہت ٹائم پہلے انہوں نے یہ چیزیں کمیونیکیشن اسکلس کو سکھا رہے تھے. پھر انفارچونیٹلی کچھ بچے جو ہیں اس کو سیریسلی نہیں لے رہے تھے، تو کیونکہ پھر ادارے جو ہے وہ سرٹیفکیٹ تھوڑا بہت اٹینڈنس لی اور دے دیا. لیکن ہمارے یہاں پہ جو ٹیم ہے I will request your team کہ کبھی کبھی جو ہے میں ان کو انوائٹ کروں گا اور آپ آ کے آبزرو کریں کہ ایکچولی واٹ اینڈ ہاؤ وی آر ڈوئنگ. جو ہم انٹرویو سیشن کرتے ہیں ایٹ لیسٹ اس کے لیے آپ ہاف این آور جو ہے یو کین اسپیئر ٹائم اور دیکھیں کہ ہاؤ آور ٹیم آر ڈوئنگ. اور اس وقت بھی اگر آپ کی ٹیم جو ہے آپ کے تھوڑا بہت ایکسپلین کر دیں ان اسٹوڈنٹس کو. اور ایون ہمارے یہاں جو انٹرویوز آتے ہیں، جو انٹرویوز لیتے ہیں، دے آر کوالیفائڈ چانس. تو ہمارے الومنائز ہیں، دے اسپینڈ فرام 9 to 5 ہول ڈے ٹیکنگ دی انٹرویوز، تھرلی انٹرویوز لیتے ہیں اور پھر اس کے بعد جو ہے وہ اپنا کنکلوژن جو ہے وہ اپنے بچوں کو بتاتے ہیں. پھر دین اگین دیور سیشن. تو وی آر ٹرائنگ آور لیول بیسٹ. اور کچھ ٹائم پہلے جو ہے آئی وینٹ ٹو BDO. تو اس وقت جو ہمارے ہم نے وی اسٹارٹیڈ RPA. اس وقت RPA جو ہے بہت کم تھا. تو آئی ہیو بین ریکویسٹنگ، کیونکہ جس طریقے سے بھی ٹیکنالوجی چینج ہو رہی ہے दुनिया के किसी भी इंस्टीट्यूशन को, इवन हार्वर्ड एंड ऑक्सफोर्ड, they are worried, they are unable to catch up with the pace of the technology and the changes. It is very difficult. तो ICAP और ACC और दूसरे लोगों के लिए जो है is not possible to catch up with the. और मैं अक्सर स्टूडेंट्स को कहता हूँ कि यार देखो आपको आउट ऑफ बॉक्स, देखिए KPMG या BDO जो है या AFF आपको क्यों अपॉइंट करे? कैफ तो सब क्वालिफाइड है. आपको कुछ ना कुछ ऐसी चीज करनी होगी जिसकी वजह से फर्म्स मजबूर हो कि आपको अपॉइंट करें. तो व्हाट एक्चुअली दे आर लुकिंग एट, आपको वो चीज़ें करनी चाहिए और वो वही चीज़ें जो आपसे हम अक्सर रिक्वेस्ट कर रहे होते हैं. सेकेंडली आई विल रिक्वेस्ट योर HR टीम एज वेल कि डू लेट अस नो कि व्हाट स्किल्स यू एक्चुअली नीड. ठीक है ना. एंड इंशाल्लाह आपको अगर नेक्स्ट 6 मंथ में नहीं तो इससे नेक्स्ट 6 मंथ में यू विल फाइंड. मैं असल में मैं ये चाह रहा हूँ, माई विश इज कि आपको मैं वो स्टूडेंट दूँ कि वो 6 महीने जो है वो एडवांस हो एज कम्पेयर टू एनी अदर स्टूडेंट्स. क्योंकि आपका जो ट्रेनिंग पीरियड जो है, और आपको पता है कि नई स्कीम जो आने वाली है उसमें 2 साल की भी ट्रेनिंग हो जाएगी. तो अगर कोई स्टूडेंट ऑप्ट करता है 2 years ट्रेनिंग, तो फिर तो आई डोंट नो कि वो स्टूडेंट आपके लिए क्या काम करेगा और क्या नहीं करेगा. फॉर दैट टाइप ऑफ स्टूडेंट अगर आपको 6 month अहेड अगर स्टूडेंट मिल जाता है, जो स्किल्स आप चाहते हैं वो स्टूडेंट्स को जो है वो हम यहीं पे ट्रेन करते हैं और वो प्रूफ होगा. और मैं आपको यहाँ पे बुलाऊंगा भी कि आप आके चेक करो कि ये स्किल्स जो आप चाह रहे हो वो इनके अंदर डेवलप हुई है या नहीं हुई. देन इंशाल्लाह जो है आपको भी एज मिलेगा और इनको भी जो है एडवांटेज मिलेगा. तो वी हैव टू वर्क एज अ टीम. तो आई होप कि इस सेशन से जो है आप लोगों की भी ब्रेन स्टॉर्मिंग भी होगी. और जो हम आपसे रिक्वेस्ट करते हैं कि यार आप ये चीज़ करें, तो दैट इज़ नॉट only for our benefit, that is for the benefit of our whole team. Thank you.
Now I would like Sir Asif Ali Abudi to please come on stage for the appreciation of token. Ms. Nawal, I please request you to please come on stage. Sir Zulfikar, please. Okay, thank you so much everyone for your time today. Have a wonderful day ahead.